I know you've just been out and about in D.C. talking to a lot of the industry. What is the wider implication of having a strike at a time where Boeing is trying to get back off the ground and they are trying to fix a lot of problems?
Well, you said it. Really, this is a company in trouble already, and this is the last thing they needed is one more thing they need to work with. And we heard here from Holden saying, let's see how we can get out of this. He said himself, I don't quite know how it'll go. But if you listen to his words, he seems to sort of extend an olive branch and say, we think we can get this resolved. It's unclear what exactly the metrics will be. Will it be pay? Will it be more on pension or on bonuses? They did get the guarantee that the next aircraft would be produced in the US, or in the Seattle area. So that's good for workers. But really, they felt shortchanged on this one. So it's really going to be about the money, which Boeing doesn't have.
Look, you say the workers felt stiff. There's gaps here. There's gaps between the workers, the union leaders, and management. If I look at what Stephanie Pope had to say, she said, we put our best foot forward. So where are they going to get the extra money to close these gaps? Because they're already under a lot of pressure.
That part is unclear because, Boeing really doesn't have the money right now. They're bleeding more than $1 billion each month, and that's not going to get any better. The production is going to be disrupted, and that will in turn cause more financial strain on them. There are estimates out there that a prolonged strike might cost as much as $3 billion in cash flow. And this is a company that has a credit rating that's close to junk, and that's something that investors are watching very, very carefully. They have $45 billion in debt, so they need to protect that credit rating. So very little wiggle room for them, but ultimately putting a little bit more money into the pot is better for them than a protracted strike. So that's really sort of the balance they need to strike.
I mean, what a way for Ortberg to start the run as CEO. In what way will this reflect him, Kelly Ortberg, as CEO, and how he moves forward in managing this company?
You're absolutely right. I mean, he's really been thrown into the deep end here. He put out a message a couple of days ago saying he urges everyone to leave the past fights behind, move forward, see the light, as it were. But there was sort of a bit of a veiled threat in that message, and that's at least the way it was read by workers. It's like, if you do this, there's nothing good to come out of the strike. And maybe that will have sort of energized people. You saw the numbers, more than 90% on both counts. He's stayed a little bit in the background for now, so what this might give him is a way to come forward and really take the helm of the negotiations. Those have been led by Stephanie Pope, as you said, Manus. So Ortberg can come into this now, and if he can turn it around, then maybe if it's a short strike, he'll be seen as somebody who made peace with workers, and that'll go a long way.
Well, that carries a lot of favor in many of these organizations. You're on the road. This kind of disruption, additional disruption at Boeing, I'm not saying it's necessarily an opportunity for Airbus, but it certainly must bolster the narrative for them relative to Boeing, again.
Yeah, again, exactly. And this is something we've seen since the start of the year, and probably even before then. Boeing's been in several years of crisis.
Yes.
Airbus has said, look, we take no pleasure in our rivals' misfortunes. Something going wrong at one manufacturer is bad for everyone, particularly something that's safety-related. And the truth is, Airbus have issues of their own. They're not as pronounced as Boeing's, but they can't just sort of jump in and say, anyone want to buy a couple more planes? Because they can't produce them at that speed. This is a very long-term industry. Contracts are long-term. Relationships are long-term. So you don't just sort of switch from one manufacturer to the other. But the optics are that this is one company that's down, one that's up. You're slowly seeing a diverging path in terms of the market share. It used to be pretty much 50-50 on the narrow-body aircraft. Now it's more 60-40, probably moving more towards 70-30. So that's all happening.